our special guest with us tonight is a young lady who has a special place in my heart. Um, and she's broken into an industry that has a lot of influence, not only over kids nowadays, but um, over adults as well. And she's managed to take what, frankly, I saw as a huge pitfall, and she's managed to make moves and establish herself and become a legitimate gangster in fashion and influence and things like that. Why don't you go ahead and tell us who you are?
Thank you, thank you. My name is Monet. Like he said, I model. I'm also an entrepreneur in the fashion industry in Atlanta. And yeah, I'm just here to talk a little bit about the industry and really dive into what I do and kind of behind the scenes and what it's like.
Excellent. Thank you for sitting down, especially around the holidays and making the time to come in and sit down with us. What was it that originally got you interested in the industry? Because I know coming up in the home, you and I, we never saw eye to eye on the modeling and
Mm-hmm.
cheerleading and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Um, what is it that like really wanted to get you into this industry?
Um, I've definitely always been interested in the industry. We had a very traditional upbringing. You're 9 to 5. You go to work, you come home, you cook dinner, you go to bed, and you traditional. Your traditional working life. I just never really that didn't really appeal to me. I kind of wanted like a different way of life. I didn't want a typical schedule. I didn't want the same routine. I kind of wanted to see new things, do new things. I didn't want the same schedule. I didn't want the repetitive of just going to sleep, waking up, going to work, coming home, going to bed, repeat. Um, I just felt like there was so much to see, to do. And I felt like this was kind of the perfect industry to give me that chance and getting my name out there. So it's very appealing to me.
What got you into it originally?
I've always wanted to do it. Like he said, we didn't always see eye to eye. I kind of had to branch out when I was 18 and try and find an industry out here and kind of get my foot in the door. Um,
By out here, you mean upstate New York?
yes,
Okay.
upstate New York. It was definitely hard to branch out, I would say. I kind of had to trial and error, a lot of trial and error. That's for sure. There's definitely no blueprint, not that there is to anything, but especially in this industry, it's a lot about who you know, and you have to definitely be careful.
That's where my question comes in: is who was that someone that kind of got you into that you looked up to? And I don't want to know who. I just want to know their attributes. What were they like in entrepreneurship? Um, what
Um,
made it so? What's the word? Shiny, I guess. Something that you really pointed towards.
Honestly, no one in particular, nothing specific. I genuinely, I just know like where I came from and what everything was, and I wanted to really like in a way show my family like a new way of life. Like I wanted them to see more. Like I kind of felt like when I was living in upstate, it was like there's so much more to do, so much more to see, so much more to experience. And I had no idea. I wanted to see different cultures and I was trying to figure out a way to get paid and experience new things, see new things, travel, meet new people. So honestly, I guess social media kind of played a part.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
that's a trend for young people. Even
Mhm.
myself, I see it as that's my next goal, and I'm really uh, I've gotten myself into that 9 to 5 kind of routine.
Mhm.
I love it, I love the routine.
Mhm.
But when I watch people my age get into that entrepreneurship, uh, it weighs on people that do the 9 to 5.
It definitely does, and it's really hard. It's kind of hard to like differentiate because there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but it's like, sometimes even though you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to do all this stuff, you kind of, you have to work that 9 to 5 to set
Mm-hmm.
yourself up. You still have to put in the work and then you just have to put in overtime to really do what you want to do.
Right.
So, um,
Also, what kind of falls into it is a lot of people that are into 9 to 5s, they fall in love with what they do,
yeah.
whether it's in the trades or whatever. So it's taking that next step of taking what you love to do and then doing it for yourself,
Mhm.
um, and then breaking that bubble of being dictated by time.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what uh, makes people so attracted to the
Absolutely.
entrepreneurship
That's the
is the
biggest thing
time to
is
do
the
whatever.
financial freedom.
Exactly.
Yep. But I feel like a lot of people don't realize that in order to get the financial freedom, it's even longer hours than a 9 to 5.
Exactly.
It's staying up
Yeah.
late. It's instead of 40-hour weeks, it's 80-hour weeks. It's 4 hours of sleep. It's going to every single event and meeting every person you can and just trying to get your foot in the door any way you can. It's definitely a lot. I want to say it's a lot harder, but obviously in the long run, I mean, the benefits are definitely better. Financial freedom. I mean, you can do what you want when you want. Ultimately, if you get to your goal. So that was really just kind of what I saw. That was really I was just kind of focused on the end goal. I wasn't really sure how I was going to get there. I mean, I'm still not there. But we're on the way.
That's really cool. Good for you.
That's awesome.
So you're out here and you're talking about meeting people, and obviously you've met some people that have really wanted to help you out. What's the ratio of like scumbags to genuine people? 50-50, 80-20?
Absolutely not. It's about 90 to 10.
Really? It's
And I
that
90%
bad.
scumbag?
I can say that wholeheartedly. I don't want to say scumbag, and I don't want to say that I don't want to say that there's only 10% of good people out there, but it's life. It's a given. We're all selfish in a way. We all are trying to get somewhere. At the end of the day, you have to look out for yourself, which is understandable. But I feel like especially in this industry, people kind of like use each other and just like climb on each other's backs and just, once they're done with you, we'll just go on to the next one. If you can't do for me, then I'm on to the next one. Once you get what you want out of somebody, then it's just kind of, okay, well, that's all for me. I'm trying to move up the ladder here. So especially in this industry, it's very cutthroat. So in order to get where you want to go, especially all the successful people, you don't hear that they're good people. I mean, you think about the top 1%. I mean, you have to get to where you're going. You don't have time to really, I mean, it's harsh, but you don't have time to worry about other people's feelings and, how they're going to feel. And, I want to bring them with me. And there's a very select few amount of people who really want to bring everybody up with them and genuinely, like, help them.
That's the foundation for entrepreneurship, especially in your industry and fashion,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of the top, I don't know, maybe 10 niches.
Mm-hmm.
And you make so much money, but with that money, it becomes a game.
Mm-hmm.
And with that game, you start stepping on.
You really
people
have to learn how to play it. Yeah.
Yes, you do.
I feel like that's been one of the hardest parts. You really have to learn how to navigate it. And if you don't have like a mentor or at least one person in your corner who knows the industry and like genuinely looks out for you and can kind of help you navigate, it's very hard. It's very hard. You can get lost very easily.
Is that emotionally or is that
both all around?
Both, all around.
Emotionally, mentally, physically. It's
So
all
who
around.
so who helped you navigate? Because it damn sure wasn't me.
I feel like that's where I'm still struggling. I've had managers, I've had mentors, I've been with agencies. But as far as like a sole like person, that's the goal. Like I want a team. I want my own team of people that I can wholeheartedly count on. Like we travel together, we get money together, we build with each other, we grow with each other. Like we all have similar goals. Like we have each other's best interest at heart. It's not just, oh, I get here so I don't need you anymore. Oh yeah, this might make you look bad, but I'm gonna get a lot of money, so it's whatever. It's really finding those people. And it's like I said, I find some good, genuine people. I like to think I have a good judge of character. I feel like I start to find some good, genuine people, but it's, you get to a certain point where if it's not completely beneficial for the other person, I mean, it's human. It's life. They kind of turn or, things just take a turn.
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, I don't think you have a heart like that. Where if somebody had nothing to offer you, you would just turn like that.
I don't,
like,
but that's why. I mean, from my perspective, obviously I'm biased. It's myself, but I can say out of all of like the mentors and stuff I had, like I never saw it as the reason that we aren't further is because I stabbed them in the back. Like I can genuinely say, like
you just it was time to
yeah.
part ways.
So
Yeah.
you've run into it to where you've met people and it just wasn't that sort of thing for you then.
So many people.
Okay,
A lot
so
of
like
people
they just felt like they were using you to get where they needed to get, or
Yeah, in a way, yeah. Especially a lot of people think that since they are like further in the industry and they do kind of have a little bit more of an idea, obviously someone like me, I'm looking for a mentor. I'm looking for someone to teach me, to show me, to, you know, who I can learn from, to grow with. So you kind of got to be careful because people take advantage of that. And once you get to a certain point and you kind of, you know, catch on, then, you know, they start to fall back and realize, okay, well, you know, I can't really, you know, get out of it what I thought. So, you know, we kind of have to navigate a different way.
So, with meeting these people and things like that, I mean, I know you've been accomplished. You're Billboard famous in my book, kid. What's the biggest, because I mean, you've been doing this, because you started the modeling and the influencing right around the same time. And so you've been doing it 4 years,
Three,
4 year,
four,
full time.
full time, like.
Like this is how you pay your bills. It's not like what we're doing here. All three of us have got to go up and go to work
Yeah.
tomorrow. This is how you support yourself.
Mhm.
How do you keep that passion for it? Because I know in my experience, I find something I'm passionate about. I love it. The second you put a price tag on it, I absolutely hate it
Mhm.
because it goes from a passion and something you can put your heart into to now you're tying your livelihood to it.
It's very hard. It's definitely very hard. It's kind of like you definitely have to be mentally strong. I feel like this past year I've learned that a lot. You definitely like, especially being an entrepreneur, you learn a lot about yourself, what you can do, your strengths, your weaknesses. I mean, it's you. It's all you. It's, I mean, you're fighting for yourself. I feel like I'm fighting for my life.
Yeah.
What was the question again?
What's your excuse me. What's the most rewarding thing so far? What's your greatest accomplishment to date? Like if you could hang your hat on it, if you had to walk away from the industry tomorrow, you know,
Honestly, nothing in particular. Like, I mean, I've been on a billboard. I've been in a couple magazines. I just got a nice campaign with a very big company, Good American. The campaign deals are good. They're not always consistent, but it's definitely like a good milestone to reach. But ultimately, it's really just the fact that I'm able to keep going, that I can still like see the positive, that I still see. I see the end goal. I see the vision. Like I haven't. So much stuff has happened. It's just crazy stuff. I've learned so many things. Um, but the fact that like I'm still here, like I know this is what I want to do. Like, you know, we're still making money. We're still paying the bills. We're still getting our name out there. We're still growing. So that's, I feel like, the biggest
are
accomplishment.
you ever see yourself going back to a quote unquote normal job?
Honestly, recently, I have been thinking about it more just because I feel like I'm getting older for the industry. I'm young. I
Okay,
know I'm.
older. If you don't mind me asking, I know we're breaking a cardinal rule by asking a woman her age.
Oh my God.
Older as in, how old are you?
You want me to say the number?
Mid 20s, late 20s?
Mid 20s.
Okay, mid 20s. So what's the average, we'll say, life expectancy for modeling, influencing?
Even for like actual big agencies, when I was just applying to New York City, I was just applying to new agencies, the cap is 25. If you're older 25, it's 24, 25. Obviously they have older people, obviously, but the prime, I mean, I have a young face, I have a baby face, they take in a lot of those factors, but if you don't already have your foot in the door, it's very hard to establish an actual career when you are over a certain age.
So if you were like 27 right now trying to break into the industry,
It would be very difficult. Very difficult. So recently I have, I mean, I've been thinking about it. Ultimately, I know this is what I want to do. I've been very patient. I don't want to say I'm running out of patience, because I know that there's lights at the end of the tunnel. But it's hard. It's like, you know, every day. It's, you know, you try and think of different things that, you know, what else can I do? What can I do better? What can I do more? Like, how do I make more? How do I do more for my family? I mean, it's always you're always trying to figure out how you can do more. So it's definitely been a thought more so now that I am getting older.
Do you think with the age, coming as you get older, do you think it would be more beneficial to look towards like commercial or film or
Well,
something like that?
that's the plan anyway. I started, I branched into film a little bit when I first moved to Atlanta, but it just went left. And so then I kind of steered away.
Can you explain it? What do you mean it went left?
Um,
You can be honest. It got grimy real
people
quick.
people just always want something from you. They sell you a dream, everything sounds good. You put in, and with me, it's never about the work. It's never about the time. Like, I will put in 60 hours if I have to. I mean, I was driving 2 hours out of my way to go study, to go train, to go, because I didn't have any acting experience. I mean, I would be sitting in class all day, like going over scripts, doing pilots, I mean, training, doing what I had to do. Really, it's not about putting in the time or putting in the effort. And that's what's really frustrating is when, you have like the willpower to get somewhere and you think you're on the right track to do something good and you're trying to learn, but ultimately people just want what they want and it really doesn't have anything to do to benefit you. So that kind of steered me away. And that's when I really just kind of dove back into, regular modeling. But like I said before, I signed with this agency in New York City. So that's more so of like print, commercial, stuff like that.
Okay,
Hmm.
outstanding. Um, so excuse me one second. We're gonna have to get a cough button, guys. We're gonna have to invest in that. So, what being in the industry and stuff like that, um, you invest a lot of time into yourself, into your brand, things like that. You're Elon Musk in it. Nobody understands why you're doing what you're doing except for you because that's your dream. How has that affected your social life? How is being not just relationally, how has it affected like the way you see yourself with the fat phobia? Oh, guys, you're gonna be so pissed with the fat phobia and the shaming and everything like that. Um, have you had any issues with that?
Um, I haven't personally.
So,
Um,
what about issues with like dating and your social life and things like that?
Social life is difficult only because I don't like drama. I have zero tolerance for it.
So drama
I
is
mean,
it
you're around a bunch of models. I mean, everyone, if they see you doing something, it's very catty. There's a lot of jealousy. There's a lot of just underlying. It's very fake.
okay?
It's very fake. It's very difficult to really like kind of wean out the fake and really find like the real genuine people. Um, as with anything, but I feel like in this industry more so, it's very difficult. So I don't really entertain it. I don't really.
Okay, but what about like issues with your significant other or anything like that? I mean, has there ever been any work you've done where your
Yes.
significant other's seen it and it's like how do you handle that? How do you draw that line? Because I mean, obviously you want to further your career, but you don't want to blow off your partner's feelings and
It's hard. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I would be a lot further if I wasn't always in a relationship. Only because
yeah. Please elaborate
I
on that.
definitely feel like I just feel like I'm just a nice person. I feel like I'm always taking other people's, actions or emotions into account. If like there's an event and it's super late, I'm like, okay, well, I wouldn't like him getting home at this time, so maybe I should, I feel like I kind of get into a almost like married couple routine. So it's like, and if we're together, I'm representing you. So I don't want to make you look crazy or, I wouldn't want to do anything to tarnish our name or our brand or not even that I would, do anything crazy wild, but it's kind of difficult. There's a very thin line. There's a very thin line. It's like when I went to LA, for example.
Okay.
I went to LA. I had a manager out there. We made a whole bunch of content. We were there for a week. My boyfriend at the time, he came with me. We were recording together. Everything was good. Everything was cool. But we flew back. But then I got a call from my manager, literally as we're in the airport, like, hey, we have this huge private event, like, and they personally asked you to come, like, fly back right now. Like, we can't miss this. Like, fly back. My boyfriend at the time was not having it. Was not having it whatsoever. It was a very big artist, and he just wasn't comfortable. He didn't like it. And so then there's
What was it about the situation that made him uncomfortable? Was it because he was being put on the back burner, or is it because there was going to be a bigger?
both.
Okay.
I feel like there was definitely an insecurity thing, and then there was definitely kind of like, you're just gonna leave me just to go to this big, private event. Like, what he doesn't, like you said, it's what I'm doing is for me. Other people might not understand it. So he might not really understand, like, why do you feel like, oh, it's just, it's just some event. Like, why do you need to go to that? He doesn't really understand, the severity of meeting people, having to make connections, having to be around, having to be in the scene, having to really, make connections. And if these people don't see you, I mean, you know how many models there are? Everyone thinks they're a model. Everyone wants to be seen. If these people don't see you, if they're not, if you can't, a lot of it too is when you go to these events, it's who do you want to be? How is your character? That's going to set you apart. People definitely pick up on energy. They can read certain things. Like when you go to this event, like how are you going to stand out? How are you going to make this, how can you potentially make this, your next big career move? So it's a lot to take into account. Networking is a huge, huge part of the industry. So yeah, that was definitely a big part of it.
But do you think some of his concerns were justified, being the type of people that are in the industry and the stigma that surrounds the industry?
I mean, absolutely. And that's why I didn't go. But I can't sit here and say that I don't think it hindered me, because I do.
Okay. Okay. Do you think maybe it could have helped you? Maybe
Yeah.
that interaction
Absolutely.
avoided a situation that could have been bad?
Absolutely.
And speaking of that scene, it's what. So you said it was a combination of things. Like, are there ever any of these parties and stuff like that that you go to that you just don't go to because of like who's hosting and stuff like that? Like, who decides what gigs you're gonna take? Is that you, your manager, things like that? Is that something you would sit down and talk to your significant other about, or?
I mean, I ultimately would decide. Like I said, I always take into account how other people feel, but at the end of the day, I mean, this is my career. I mean, we can have a conversation, we could talk about boundaries, we could, compromise, but at the end of the day, I ultimately am going to make the decision on,
So does that? I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. So does that, in looking at relationships after modeling, things like that during I mean, is it even something that somebody getting into the industry should be focused on, or just put it on the
No,
back burner? Don't bother getting involved in a relationship.
no. I think you really have to be selfish in this industry.
Is it-
Selfish to a certain extent. You have to find your people. I think that's why a lot of like the celebrities and stuff, they only date within their circle because they understand the lifestyle. They understand what you have to do. It's not always an argument. It's, oh, why are you out so late, or why are you're always partying, or you're always doing this. They understand what comes with it, all that it entails. So
So do you think that has a part to play in say like the lack of young people getting married nowadays and stuff like that? Because
no,
no.
that is
So are you looking to get married at some point?
yes. Two
Okay.
years ago.
How many
2
years ago?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So you're a little behind the eight
Yeah,
ball.
Behind the 8 ball.
No, I'm just wondering because like my big thing is I sit back and like I said, I gave you a hard time growing up.
That's my struggle. I feel like I need to pick one. It's very I'm trying to have it all. I'm trying so hard to have all of it. But it's like I want the family, I want the kids, I want the house, I want but then I want the traveling, I want the work, I want the late nights, I want the lunch in Italy, and so it's how do you get it all? How do you navigate it? Do you focus on one and just, get the career first? Do you know, I mean, a lot of people start with the family and they put their career goals on the back burner and then they end up regretting it. So it's like, how do you navigate both? So that's where I'm at.
So there's huge sacrifices,
Absolutely.
both sides of it.
Absolutely.
It's the traditional upbringing versus entrepreneurship,
Mm-hmm.
and you add in relationships to that,
Mhm.
and then you don't know where you are. You get lost.
Mm-hmm.
The way I see it, and as I kind of go through it for myself, um, I've decided, this is me personally, that I will focus on my career.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean you can't have a relationship.
Absolutely.
So as you're pursuing your career, you focus on relationships, not on the back burner, but as hard as you would go in your career.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, you'd be very, 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 very particular on who you communicate with,
Yeah.
who you talk to.
It's
and-
difficult though, because that's how I've been doing it.
Uh-huh.
And it's almost like, okay, you know how they say, you separate yourself too many times, you're going to separate yourself too thin. And if you're not giving your all in one, how is it going to go? You have to
Right.
fully commit and, give your
Mhm.
all into this if this is what you want. Especially, I mean, the lifestyle I want, you can't work 20 hours and then just think that it's going to fall into
Mhm.
your lap. I mean, you have to
Right.
work, you have to put in the time.
Especially in that industry.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so fascinated by it, because I think having a relationship in the fashion industry is the hardest thing to do. I'm in construction.
Mhm.
You know, it's a completely different ballgame,
Mhm.
you know, in what I do and what Dan does.
You definitely have to get a partner that's very understanding, and communication is the absolute biggest thing.
Mhm.
I have not always been big on communication whatsoever, especially this past year.
Right.
It was my little health growing journey, my
Mhm.
self, reflection year. I feel like I definitely grew a lot, but if you don't have communication,
Mhm.
you can't do anything.
Do you think you have to have the same likes in the career? Like, do you think you have to be on the same career path? You kind of brought this up earlier. How
Yes
they
and no.
date.
I used to not. I want to say no, not necessarily.
Mhm.
But does it help? Yes.
Yeah.
Will it make things run smoother? Will it be easier to navigate? Yes.
Is it fake?
Like the relationships within the industry?
Yeah. Does it become fake after a while when you realize
No.
you're really just kind of chasing a career? Interesting.
No.
Okay.
I mean, not for me. For some
Mhm.
people, it definitely is for show. But my last relationship, it was on the media. It was, we were working every day. I mean, it was fun for us.
Mhm.
We got to make our own schedule. We got to wake up. We got to make content. I mean, it was genuinely fun. We got to
Mhm.
travel. And so, not for me, but I do personally know some people where it is fake.
So how did that work for you guys generating content and traveling and stuff like that? Like you guys just got up and
We had a schedule. We definitely had a schedule. It was a lot sometimes to really manage like regular life and, household chores and, regular just grocery shopping and, stuff like that. But we had a strict schedule. Sometimes were YouTube days. We did content every single day. Sometimes we would try to give each other or ourselves like one day off. But we would try and record at least like 6 videos a day and TikToks, and we would always generate content.
is it
We would
that
try to go. You'd have to go live. We'd have specific schedules that we would post.
and how did you guys end up making enough money doing that to pay the bills? What it's just put it out there, see what happens, and the money starts rolling in. Is that kind of what it is, or I don't
I mean,
understand.
he still had his job. He
Okay.
still worked part-time at his job. So it wasn't solely, we were kind of scared to fully take that leap. I was just because, I mean, modeling is different. If you're a content creator, it kind of depends on ads. It depends on how many followers you have, how many subscribers, if you're monetized, what platforms you're on, how many cents they pay you per views. So that takes into account a lot of things. If your video gets demonetized, it's, so he worked his part-time job still. But we made sure we recorded every single day. But mine was different just because with modeling, I mean, especially in Atlanta, I mean, I could literally every single day, granted, it's not the smartest, but I mean, people do it. I can go work 8 hours and make $300 a day. I mean, granted, I'm working every single day, but
Legally, you can do that.
yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm just asking, sweetheart. Like I said, I'm not around to look over your shoulder anymore.
Especially in Atlanta, everything is like, it's the entertainment industry. I mean, there's music videos, there's photo shoots, there's campaigns, there's hair, there's nails. Like,
and that's all that's, and I'm just curious because working in construction,
Hmm.
okay, um, guys like Silas, they're a rare breed. They really are, and I'm one of the biggest advocates of this YouTube influencer. There, nobody wants to work anymore and stuff like that. And I used to talk a lot of smack on the younger generation for it, but now I sit back and I'm wondering, just coming off of back surgery, who's really the sucker? Me going to work and blowing out my back for somebody else, or you
It's
figuring
like
out how to
it's
manipulate
like you
social media?
it's like you always say. I mean, work smarter, not harder. If my rate is $200 an hour, and then I'm gonna go work an 8 hour shift. I'm gonna go work 8 hours for 200 a day, and then you're gonna take taxes out of it when I can work $200 for 1 hour.
Hmm.
You have to figure out your niche. You have to figure out what works for you, and figure out how to monetize it. Figure out why people need you, how they can use you, and how you get paid from it.
Could you have brought your uh, social media along with you on the modeling stuff to kind of give like just a background view of it? Like,
What do you mean?
you see those people on YouTube with like vlogs and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Do you think that would have maybe helped like your social media career when you were with
Absolutely,
him?
absolutely. I just personally, it's the absolute smartest thing to date in 2023. Social media, it is the smartest thing you
Hmm.
could possibly do. I do not doubt that. Making money from your phone, making content. I'm not saying it's easy at all, but it is the smartest way to generate income and really, try and create generational wealth. I do personally believe. I hate social media. I hate it. I know that it's great for you. I know everybody uses it. I know that it is the move right now. I hate it. That's why even when I had a manager, she ran my social media.
If you had kids, would you let them on social media?
Yes. It would definitely be monitored. It would absolutely be monitored. There would be parental controls, but especially, I mean, there's little kids unboxing toys on YouTube getting 5 million views. I
Yeah.
mean, if you know what
Yeah,
you're
that's
doing,
crazy.
Yeah,
if
yeah, but because you said little kids, I'm wondering how much of it is the creepy perverts that are, you know, sitting at home thinking 8-year-old
but
Sally is
this is
something to
but
be
this is
looking
where
at.
this is where the parents come into play. Don't sexualize your child. Don't it doesn't it's hard because
Yeah,
there's predators everywhere.
yeah,
You can't
I agree
control
with you.
that. You can't. My thing is, don't set your kid up, your 5 year old, in a half shirt and a little tutu and set them on YouTube for all the creeps to watch. Like,
Okay,
there's a way to go about it. There's a way to have innocent child fun.
It-
And
fair enough. But what, like, one of the podcasts I listened to, the guy farms chickens. He wanted to figure out a way to make money off of his chickens aside from selling eggs, so he set up webcams in this giant chicken coop and he films Chicken City. It's a live feed of a chicken coop all day,
it's wild.
and people pay money. They leave it on for their pets at home. But like, what is the appeal of watching
I don't get the appeal, but even little kids.
well, like watching kids watch other kids play video games? What is the appeal? Like you're out there, you're actually doing something. You're modeling. You're
It's the new. You think about it, every single kid has a phone or a tablet now. They sit on the computer and they just watch things. And a lot of them go live, even like the Twitch streams, and
I don't know
it's
what's
a,
a Twitch.
I don't, it's some gaming.
It's a
Twitch
game.
is for gaming.
Yeah.
It's where people basically record themselves and go live, and
But you
other
go
people go and
live,
watch.
yeah, you can actually interact. You can interact with people. You can have conversations. You meet people. You talk about different topics, and it's just, I mean, it's if you're bored, I mean, it's entertaining.
It's deeper than that. There's actually channels that hire different YouTubers and they pay them millions of
Yeah,
dollars.
they do.
With social media, going back to that, the younger generations realizing that it's not just a picture or a video. It's actually a marketplace.
Hmm.
Simple as that. It's a place to share ideas and also sell ideas and to buy ideas. Or it's that kind of slave system where you're just kind of go TikTok and you're scrolling.
Yeah.
There's a little bit part of that too.
I
But
think
that's what fuels this marketplace is people that sit there and watch all day long.
the smart people, what
Mhm.
separates the just a TikToker, just somebody who just sits and just makes YouTube. It's those people. Okay, they're making money. They don't have to work a 9 to 5. They're making their own schedule. Cool. They have their foot in the door, but that's not really the goal. If you really watch these actual like large channels and the people like the 1% of people who really create generational wealth, who can really provide for their family, not just their living family, but I mean, and pass it down the line, who really have set themselves up and really got their family and put them in a better place. they invest.
Mhm.
You take this money, you're already financially free. You have the time. You're working from YouTube, you're working from home, you make your schedule, you save your money, and then you invest in other things.
Mhm.
You make the residual income. You have more than one source of income. You make money while you sleep.
You
That's
buy
what
assets.
Yeah, that's the part that,
Mhm.
But I still I like the fact that we're sitting here recording this podcast and we're going to edit it and put it out on the internet, that somebody might click on this and listen to us run our mouths amazes me.
Okay, but just like you're interested, you want to know how the industry works. You said you work in construction. You have a regular 9 to 5. You might want to learn more. People, it's just
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
in-
you listen to podcasts, right?
Yeah,
Every day.
constantly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So that's like one of the things.
Yeah.
Like you see, okay, well, I listen to this guy and he's got a lot of interesting content,
Mhm.
but now I've got ideas
It's little
that I
things.
want to
People
talk about.
people like to relate to you, or they're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's an interesting topic, or he's funny, or it could be so
Yeah.
many different attributes.
Yeah, but I don't pay for none of this, so where does the money come from? Like
The
I don't
views.
pay for any of the shows that I watch. I don't even watch the shows. I listen to them.
Just listening
Yeah.
and downloading, like when
Just
you're
even just
when you're listening
watching.
on Spotify and stuff like that, it goes off of clicks and downloads
Yeah.
and
It's the
and all that
views,
stuff.
it's the numbers.
So
and then they put ads into it, and then they
Every
So-
time you watch an ad, that person gets paid.
Yeah.
Every time you listen to an ad, that person gets paid.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you don't click skip and you watch that entire ad, they're getting paid more money.
yeah
Mhm.
really.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's why I'm always clicking skip.
That's why I use an ad blocker when I'm watching YouTube.
No.
But still, I mean, it's like that whole thing of like it starts out with like an idea on what to talk about, then it keeps going, then they get sponsorships, like paid sponsorships to like talk about this mobile video game. That's like the big thing right now is these mobile video games. I mean, I see you play mobile video games, you know what I mean?
Constantly.
And those are click and pay type games. Now you may not do it, but somebody else out there is gonna be like, oh, this will make it better for me. I'm gonna pay for this.
Okay.
So
Okay, I get it. I understand. I understand, and I just it's beyond me. I still have. I guess I'm just an old fart. I still have a hard time wrapping my head around all this stuff. But with that being said, even with us sitting here filming this podcast, and we sit and complain that kids don't go outdoors and kids don't play and they spend too much screen time, do you think we're just contributing to the problem?
There needs to be a happy medium.
Much in the same way a heroin dealer contributes to the problem of drugs in the inner city.
There needs to be a
this comes down to there needs to be a heroin
No,
dealer. Is that what you're about to say?
no, that's not what we
No.
Is that how you keep your figure for your modeling shoot so
No,
close
so
after
it's a
Christmas?
happy medium, right? Like she was saying, there's a happy medium where parents have to kind of control this for kids.
Mhm.
Like that amount of screen time that they're doing. Now I'm not a parent, but
There's so many.
all of my friends are parents, and I see you guys have all done great jobs.
Yeah,
And-
it's like I played sports, 5-6 days a week. I would still come home at night, watch TV before bed. That could be when they're, watching their YouTube. There's a happy medium, and you definitely have to teach them.
Mhm.
You definitely have to teach them different skill sets. I feel like that could be. I'm not a parent. I'm not gonna sit here and dish or bash parents, but I definitely would make sure my children is involved in things where they can learn things. But this is also another way. It keeps them creative, keeps them entertained. I feel like they meet a lot of people, and it opens the door for more opportunities. There's so many kids I see on TikTok that are in movies now and doing commercials, and
Yeah, well, if you knew what I knew about the Hollywood industry and things like that, like
I wasn't getting into that, but
Well,
yes.
and this was my biggest concern with you getting involved in the industry, and it's not that I didn't trust you. I don't trust other people, and I've been given very few things in my life that I consider blessings,
Mhm.
and there is no amount. There's no limit to the things I would do if you got caught up in a situation like that. I mean, we personally know people that have been caught up in situations like that,
Mhm.
and I mean, I can only assume that you've been propositioned that way since you've
Mhm.
gotten into the industry. How do you? I mean, I understand it's just know it, or is it just one of them things where it's going to happen? Just know that it's going to happen and don't be surprised when it does. Is there a way to safeguard, things like that? You look at like
You just have to really be stern, and I feel like you have to be upfront with what you want.
And do you think that this industry perpetuates that type of deviant behavior among adults towards the adolescents?
Not openly, but somewhat, yeah.
Like, if you feel comfortable discussing it, have you witnessed anything that would be like, if my kid was there, that wouldn't be happening?
I've never witnessed anything like with children. I've never really, I mean, I've heard stories. I know, some of the things that I have um, been through. Um, you can't escape it. It's the industry. I mean,
But like, you think shining a light on it and exposing the rot would get rid of it? Because I mean, you stop it,
yes and
and
no. I mean, that's exactly what I feel like Kanye was trying to do. There's so many people who've tried to do it, but they're the people in the
and
position to make a change are the ones in control of it. They don't see a problem with it. So it starts with them. If they're the ones, all for it, I mean, how are we down here? How are we? Because we don't really know all the ins and outs. Yeah, we know stories. Yeah, we see a little bit, but I mean, we're not there. I mean, a story can get twisted 25 different ways.
well,
If everyone's not on board to really make a change and, stop it and try and make a better way, I mean, how can we at the bottom be expected to?
much in the way a lot of content creators are doing it now, you create a counterculture.
Yeah.
You have, I know there's various podcasts I go out. His whole thing is not to just get out there and yell to the ether. He wants to change culture. He is hiring journalists. He is hiring screenwriters. You look at like organizations like the Daily Wire, Wretched Radio, things like that. They've created an entire counterculture opposite the narrative that's being pushed. And I'm I have a real hard time accepting that nothing can be done. Um, I just we know it happens. It's out.
Hmm.
In a lot of places. I mean, you look at the whole Epstein thing and stuff like that. Like, it's common knowledge this is going on.
Yeah.
And it, the Playboy Mansion was nothing but CIA honeypots. All they did was get underage girls in there to have relations with these people in power, take photographs of it, and used it against them. I mean, do you, if you haven't seen anything like this, do you believe something like that is plausible?
Yes, absolutely. I know it happens. I'm 100%. I mean, I know it happens.
Have you ever been in a situation where things just got a little bit weird? Have you ever been asked to do some type of stuff like that?
Yes.
Like go in and work on this guy so we can put him in a compromising position, or it was just straight up, we want you to shoot porn?
Yeah, that was kind of what like the acting was. It wasn't like, your typical little action or comedy. It was just strictly like they just, I mean, I guess thought it was Pornhub. I don't know.
They just wanted TNA and that was it.
Basically.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Well, it, have you ever been put in a situation where it's explained to you as one thing, and when you get there, it's something totally different?
Every single time I'm in that situation, yes, because I would have never agreed to it if they would have been straight up with what they actually
So,
wanted.
so how do they generally proposition this? Just like, hey, you want to come shoot a music video, and then you show up, and it's
I mean, yes and no. I'm definitely very selective on who I work with, especially now. I mean, my first year, I didn't really know anyone, so I was kind of, getting my foot in the door and, meeting new people. But now I work with specific photographers. Um, if it's not like through an actual agency or casting director that I'm familiar with, I don't even entertain it. Um, but I mean, basically, yeah, you have it's networking, and it's hard too because that's kind of part of your job is to network, is to meet people, is to conversate, is to see, what they're doing, that their goals align with yours. Like, oh, I have a clothing line. Oh, well, I model. Okay, well, So you think you're on the same page. You think, oh, I'm going for a photo shoot, or yeah, we're gonna sit down, we're going to discuss business, or, here's our hourly rate, and, you make a plan, and you think, that's what you do, and then you get there, and then, they have a whole nother agenda, and it's like, well, this isn't what we discussed, this isn't what we talked about, this isn't.
And then what? You just walk out, call it a wrap.
I mean, yeah, but then it's like, you not only do you waste my time, but you waste my time, and then it's like, it's a lot.
I'm sorry.
It's a lot.
So more often than not, how was it? Was it like, how many times was it legit, and how many times did you show up and it was not what? More often than not.
I don't want to say more often than not. There are professional people. Even the professional people, though, it's a lot of people try to see what they can get away with. I mean, it's industry.
Gotcha. Okay.
And especially the young girls, a lot of them are willing to do what they say because they sell them a dream. So
like young, you're talking legal young, like 18?
Like 18, yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of them think, well, maybe if I do this, maybe I can get ahead, or if I do this, I can get a lead role in this music video, or in this video, or in this movie. So especially when it's so overpopulated with artists and models, and
Well, do you think that's become part of the reason why OnlyFans took off the way it did? Because now you've got the one thing you have, like you said, this industry yourself, you have to establish yourself somewhere. You have to make yourself stand out above the rest.
No, I think that was honestly just
COVID,
business.
People being bored, and
it was a business move. I mean, sex sells. That's the highest selling thing you could possibly do on anything. Like, I mean, yeah, people always turn their nose up at it and nobody likes it, but let's look at the statistics.
I get that, but do legitimate models look down on the ones that do that?
No. I mean, I don't. If that's how you want to get your money, if that's what you choose to do, they make money. My manager did it. She just made $1 million in 4 months. Get your money. I honestly, I respect that, you're about your money, and that I guess, you have no conscience and you don't care. You're cool with it. That's how you want to make your money, cool. But my thing is if that's what you're going to do, make that money and get out. Set yourself up. Do something else. Start a business. Invest it. Create something that you're proud of. I mean, I don't know. A lot of the people I know, they don't have a problem with it. They're proud of it. And I mean, if you're happy, I mean, more power to you.
Yeah, I don't know. How would you feel if I said I got an OnlyFans page?
You're my father.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, at some point, you said yourself, modeling is not going to last forever. What are you doing? And the internet does last forever.
I mean, I personally would never want myself open out there like that, but that's me. A lot of people, it's their perspective. If everybody wanted to be a commercial model like me, then I would really be nowhere. I mean, it's for everybody. I mean, I really would hope, like I said, that they make their money, they get out, and they do something with it. But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't judge them. I don't.
I'm not saying I judge them either. I just think it's cheating. It's like giving a metal trades apprentice a journeyman
Work smarter,
card.
not harder.
I don't get that reference.
I don't know. It's I don't know. That's the part of the industry that's always scared the living crap out of me. And it's just, the devil knows what you want. The devil's not going to tempt you with something you don't desire.
Mm-hmm.
And he is going to dangle that carrot in front of you every chance he gets. And it's just...
But that's with everybody.
Yeah, well, yeah, but let me put it to you. Like, I know if I'm hard up broke, nobody's knocking down my door offering me $1 million to show my goods on the internet. Okay? It's very different, especially for a young woman, especially for an attractive young woman. And like you said, them young women, 18, 19 years old, it can be very attractive. I mean, I'm not going to tell you I'd never been in a strip club in my entire life, but every single one of them girls in there, they're all working their way through college. Okay, you know what I'm saying? It's the same story. It's the same song and dance. It's that same exploitation. And like I said, it's cheating. I mean, it's cheating. I mean, we know some very attractive people,
Hmm.
and we'll just go with the female persuasion. And we know some very unattractive people
Hmm.
of the female persuasion. But I guarantee you, at any bar in America at 2 o'clock in the morning,
They could both make money.
they can go home with somebody if they want. I think it's cheating.
I mean, that's the way of life. Life is unfair.
I don't think it's cheating. I think guys also have the advantage too. I think guys, I mean, you see it now with this. What's the word? Um, how much money a man makes compared to how much money a woman makes. You know that there's advantages on both sides. You know, and we talk. You know, it's unfair about them going and doing a sex scene, or a guy goes and creates 3 companies and
I
puts
will say,
bands
yeah,
out and.
it's easier for, I do believe it is easier for women to make money. It is definitely
Mhm.
easier. Is it necessarily morally the right way? I mean, that's up to you.
Right.
That's up to the individual moral standards.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, but that you can't say it's up to the individual moral standards. Look at the way the country's going and what they're pushing on our kids in the schools and stuff like that. Those aren't my morals that they're pushing down our throat during Pride Month and things like that. Those aren't my morals. Those are somebody else's morals.
Correct.
So,
But in the situation that we're talking about, like money and pornography and stuff
yeah,
like
but
that.
at one point in time, pornography used to be hid behind black painted windows with 3 X's
very
on
true.
the outside. It wasn't, okay, let's log on and look for a lacrosse stick at Dick's Sporting Goods and forget to put sporting goods on there. And now my 8-year-old is traumatized for life because she's seen, you know where I'm going with it.
Yeah.
It's just, it's,
I feel like that falls into, I mean, in a harsh way, like it's kind of part of life though. It's like, you always want to protect your kids. You always want to, you want to keep them innocent. You want to protect them as long as you can and, keep them safe and, give them a good life and, how you think that they should live their life. But it doesn't, it's life.
Well,
Curveballs. I mean, it doesn't always happen like that. And you can't control what they learn. You can't control what they see. You have to teach them enough so that they have respect, so that they can stand their ground and, have the morals that you instilled in them.
yeah, I understand that, sweetheart. You coming up, um, in the age of social media, online bullying, things like that, you know just as well as I do, your friends and your phone had more influence over you at that point in time
True.
than me or your mother did.
True, but even I've got some offers.
I'm not.
My moral compass is strong.
I know yours is. I know yours is, and I am thankful for that.
Yeah.
But and I am not naive to the fact that you haven't been propositioned. I am not naive to that fact at all. I'm doing this eyes wide open, as comfortable as some of the uncomfortable as some of this stuff is makes me. It needs to be addressed. I want to know. I want to know what my daughter's going through.
Mm-hmm.
I just think some of this stuff that is out there, it's like putting a loaded needle on the table in front of an addict. And you take it all the way back down to the basics of not having positive role models in the home,
Absolutely.
being left behind, the body shaming and things like that. And you have the industry in and of itself, from where I'm sitting, is you, it's sharks in your chum.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And again, you are a rock star and you have managed to navigate that. And how do you change that? How can we change that so it's not such a predacious atmosphere for people who are genuinely wanting to get into this for the right reasons?
I feel like it starts with the individual. I mean, I feel like you have to want to be a better person. You have to I feel like it starts with you. I don't know how we can change the minds of everybody. I feel like you have to just start with individual people who are interested, who are want to break in the industry. I mean, you have to really show them like the good side, and
So is it a lack of options right now? Because like you said, with you have to network with people and stuff like that. And you said it's a 90-10 ratio, 80-20 ratio earlier.
hmm
Is it a lack of options for young ladies like you
that's
who
definitely one of them.
have a moral compass
That's
and
definitely one.
okay, so it's a lack of options right now.
hmm
It's you either deal with the scumbags or you don't deal. Period.
hmm
Okay. All right. That's just what I was wondering. What if somebody wants to get into this type of industry and stuff? How do you how do you suggest they stay away from the scumbags? I mean, is it just a matter of do your research, or
I mean, do your research, and like I said, you have to be very upfront. You have to be very blunt. I feel like a lot of models have the stigma like, oh, they're bitches, they're stuck up, they're so rude, and they don't want to talk to you, and they don't, they're very harsh. I've tried very, very hard to be the opposite of that. I've tried to really like make connections and be personable and not be stuck up and really like show people that I'm still like a real person. But that hasn't worked. I'm not gonna lie. That really, and I'm not saying you have to go and be a horrible person and be rude. But in this industry, people will take advantage of you if they see that. You really have to be a shark. You can't, you have to put your foot down. You have to be very stern. You can't budge on what you want, because they'll walk all over you.
damn, that's a shame. That how many I don't know where I was going with that one. Sorry about that. Um, so when you're done modeling, you said 30 years old. That's about it.
Mm. To break through. If
Okay, so
you're if you break through and you have an agent and you have established connections, you're all right.
okay, so with your billboard, with your magazine, LA Fashion Week, are you broke through?
No.
So what do you need? What needs to happen for you to quote unquote break through? Because I know you've done music
I
videos.
need to fully be able to. I'm supporting myself. I don't want to say support myself, but establish my own brand. I've established like, yeah, I model, I'm an entrepreneur, but like I haven't really established a name that people know. Like people know of me.
Okay, so
I need like bigger campaigns. I need to reach, instead of like the little money, like, oh, okay, $200 an hour, cool. I need to reach the $1,000 campaigns. I need to reach the commercials, the actual signed yearly renewal contracts.
so how do you go about getting those $1,000 an hour shoots and stuff like
Well,
that?
that's a work in progress.
Okay,
No,
okay,
that's why I went to New York City. I'm hoping that this manager, they can do that.
okay. So um, how many of these girls take the shortcut?
So many,
Okay, and how many of them end up panning out?
a lot. I've seen at least 4 already, pregnant and done modeling, and just.
But yeah, but okay, so no, that's not what I'm saying. That career that didn't pan out for them.
Mhm.
Like, how many of them do you see do the adult film or the OnlyFans or something like that, and then that go on to the next level? Like the next day they're on, the next up and coming sitcom or whatever it is. How many of them, like once you cross that line,
I've
how many of them do you see come back and salvage a career instead of just being pigeonholed into?
I've seen a couple. I think a lot of people now, especially with social media, I don't want to say it's easier because everything is for like in the eye, but I mean it depends on you. A lot of social media, people are bored. Everyone's always on their phone now. It's how can they connect with you? Do they like your character? Do they like what you have to say? Can they Are you emotionally available? Do they feel like they know you? They want to feel like they know you. If you can salvage yourself and they feel like, you know what, like I see where she was coming from. I kind of feel her. You know, she did some stupid things. I just watched a podcast with, what is her name? Brittany Reiner? Do you know who that
Griner,
is?
the
No.
basketball.
Mm-mm. She dated this NBA player. She got pregnant. She made it very well known that she would sleep with wealthy men just because she felt like it. She saw no wrong in it. She willingly ran around calling herself a hoe. She saw no harm in it. She was one of those. She had no issue.
Okay.
And recently she just went on a podcast and she was like, you guys always say all these things online about me. She's like, but you don't understand how much I beat myself up. Like, I really wish I could go back and that I didn't act like that. She's like, I really like gave myself to those people and I feel disgusting. Like I wish I never would have done that. I wish I would have, stuck to my morals and like had more respect for myself because they didn't deserve that. And it made me feel horrible. She's like, I feel so much better now. Like I want to be a better person for my baby. And not a lot. There are a select few that really, I feel like, do change. But I mean, like I said, it all has to do with you. What do you want out of your life? I mean, are you cool with just being on OnlyFans and having people look at you like that? Or do you want more?
Yeah, I understand and can appreciate where you're coming from, but what? Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's going to come back to the individual and stuff, and what keeps them from.
Yeah, I got a question too.
Yeah, go right ahead, brother.
Branding. Let's go back to that.
Mhm.
I feel like we've been talking about entrepreneurship. Branding is really what brings out that entrepreneurship. That really makes that entrepreneur,
Mhm.
that person, that this is what I'm selling. For young people, branding has become their identity.
Mhm.
It's become who they are. And then I feel as if that's going to really dictate who their friends are, and even as they get older and they have kids, that branding that they started when they were, younger and they now have kids, that kind of feeds into how that kid grows up, at least for a certain amount of years. How do you, how would you tell people, how do you brand yourself? How would you go about branding yourself?
How do I go about branding myself?
Yeah.
I definitely try to. It's hard. Um, I definitely try to be positive. I feel like you have to find a certain niche. You have to find kind of you can't please everybody. You can't. It doesn't matter what you do,
And you shouldn't.
how good you are, how amazing you are. You can't. And honestly, the haters are the ones who are going to push you further.
Right.
I feel like you have to find what works for you, what you want to do. You have to be consistent. You absolutely have to be consistent. And you just got to figure out, like where you want to go.
I feel as if branding is the key to entrepreneurship. You want to make a lot of money? Get your brand, be consistent with it, and
it has to do with the ads, how many followers you have to appeal to the person. You kind of have to figure out based on if you're selling a product, if you're, selling modeling, if you're selling clothes, if you're selling, a device, or if you're just talking, if you're doing a podcast, whatever you're selling, whatever you want people to tune into, you have to find a way that's interesting that you can reach a lot of people. Where it's not too difficult, where you can stay consistent.
Right.
It's funny how consistency is the key in all of that.
You have to, and that's the hardest thing to do. That is the hardest thing to do, is to stay consistent. You're tired one day. Oh, I just don't want to. Well, then you just lost the algorithm, and now you got to start all over. And who knows if they'll put you back on the same number in the algorithm that you were in, because you were doing numbers. But you got tired. I'm doing good. I want to take a day off, and now you're getting 10 views. So.
Yeah. How much do you feel the algorithm plays into branding?
Huge, and it's always changing. That's one thing that you have to actually specifically look in. If you're on Instagram or YouTube, you have to look up the algorithm. Did they change it? What is it? You have to look at the settings. You have to look at, what do I need to do? What times do I need to post?
Right.
What country are the people in? What age? Is it men? Is it female? Is it children?
What
demographic?
Yeah.
Oh, it's ridiculous
everything.
How much you.
I tried to explain this to you a couple months ago, and it's.
Dude, that's insane.
There's an entire breakdown, especially on Instagram. That's why you post at certain times, you post certain days.
Yep.
My demographic is more men than women. It's usually between like 20 and 45. It's mainly in New York and LA. There's an entire demographic. And that depends on the time zones, because mine is New York and LA, but New York and LA are in different time zones. So that differentiates, when I have to post certain stuff.
Yeah, the algorithm really plays a big part in your brand,
In your growth.
In your growth. It really dictates everything. So my next question would be, and this is just kind of for myself, who do you think runs the algorithm? Who do you think really is behind the algorithm? Is it just a computer?
Elon
No,
Musk.
it's creepy little Zuckerberg.
Elon
Do you think that there was a group of engineers, that really sat down and was like, this is what we need to do?
Yeah, I think they're constantly evolving and changing it. And I think it's people who aren't really social media people who change it. Because that's why a lot of times when I was doing the YouTube, we had 100,000 followers. And some of our videos sometimes get 1,000 views. It doesn't make sense. There's no way.
Right.
Especially we're posting at peak times. We're consistent. We're, so.
So was there anything in the messaging that would have led you, like, were you out there waving a rebel flag or promoting communism, or were you taking a
It was just
stance?
based on the algorithm. We signed up for a business. When Reels started on Instagram, we signed up for like a business content page, and it was like a creator fund. So since they agreed to pay us, they shortened our views. But if we would have read the fine print, we would have seen that. They shortened the amount of reach that our videos and posts got because they didn't want to pay.
That's more money that they would have to pay you instead of.
So you have to get a certain
okay.
amount of followers to even be eligible. So cool, we reached the followers, but now we agreed to it, and then you bump us back down because you don't want to pay.
Yeah.
Restrictor plate racing, NASCAR style, sons of.
I've heard about that with all sorts of YouTubers, like one little thing, that they don't like in your video, and it's done.
Discouraging. It is. It's really
and then
discouraging.
they change those lines
all the time,
every day, just in order so that they don't have to pay you.
That's why a lot of it, like you have to enjoy it. You have to like what you do. Granted, it's hard work, and you're not gonna love it every single day. I don't love waking up at 4 a.m. to sit in hair and makeup for 3 hours, but you have to genuinely have some love for what you do, because it's a lot, and you're not always gonna see a return.
So if you're just in this just to get your message out, just to get it out there, because personally, I'm starting this not because I want to make money. I'm starting this because I want to affect change. I believe that
But that's the perfect way to do it.
Well, but so now to turn around, because like right now we're gonna push on YouTube and things like that. For the other platforms, is it just one of these where it would be better to just go across all of them and throw shit at the wall and see which one hits best?
All platforms. The more people are on different platforms. Like I don't watch podcasts like that. So you could reach me on Instagram and YouTube, whereas you could reach someone who only watch podcasts if you post this on a podcasting site. You reach different people on different sites.
Yeah, but
and you never know who you could reach, who could share it, how many followers they have.
Yeah, but what's...
And different algorithms are on different sites.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a crazy game you have to play just to get heard.
I guess so.
Or seen, or...
I don't know. I just
discovered.
I don't understand. I don't understand it, and
it's not supposed to be understood because it's a marketplace ran by people that
are
making
money off
They don't fully understand it, because they're not even the people. This is just my perspective. The people who really do run the algorithm are looking at the money aspect. They're looking at the numbers. It's their job to stay within a budget and to do their job. They're little computer. That's what they do. The people who are actually making the content and trying to make a living off of this, they see a different side of it because they have to do different things. The other people, they don't care if you get paid from it or not.
So they're basically crap, I forgot how I was going to word that. Never mind, I'm sorry, I apologize. But it's
they're bean counters, basically saying, I don't want to pay you, so I'm going to do what I can so that you get paid a little bit, but I make more money.
Yeah.
It's the whole, it's still that corporate.
So is there any way around that? Is there any platform that's better to focus on than the other?
No, you just got to throw
YouTube's going to shaft you the same way Rumble is.
Yeah.
Dan Bongino is going to put the shaft into us.
Well, I would hope Dan Bongino doesn't put the shaft into us.
The Bonge. All right, okay, I guess. I just, like I said, this is all new, and I don't have a plan. I got purpose and a platform. That's all I can promise you, man.
I do got one more question though. As time goes on in your modeling career, say you do get that contract or whatever, the yearly contract. After modeling's done, is there like a way into management? I suppose you would call it. Like, could you start your own modeling agency?
Ultimately, I definitely want to start like some sort of, I don't know if I want an agency, but I definitely want to be some sort of positive figure for like young girls wanting to get into the industry, because I feel like you don't have that. And I feel like the people that do claim, the women that do claim to stand for the children, for the young girls, and to really advocate for them, once they get money hungry. Money changes people. I don't care what you say. It does. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but you have to evolve. It changes people.
I feel like the biggest change people can make is to get up that ladder as fast as you could, take control of a modeling agency, or
and run it the same way.
Run it, the same way.
And I've definitely seen that a lot. I've seen really good people who, same thing. I want to make a change. I want to be there. I want to be a voice. And it's like, they do at first, and they start to do really good. They grow. But then they go, they get busy, or they have enough money, so they put someone else in charge, and then it doesn't run the same way. And, you start doing the same mistakes that you tried to escape from to begin with. So I definitely would want to do that. But ultimately, I want to have my own business. Modeling is a start. That's going to get me in the door. That's going to get me traveling. That's going to get me the financial freedom. But I want to have a multi-million-dollar company of my own.
You and I both.
So with that being the ultimate goal, how do you... And wanting a family and wanting to be married 2 years ago, your timeline, not mine. How do you see yourself balancing that? I mean, so it's like you said, something's got to give. You can only spread yourself so thin.
I don't have the answer. Just talk to God, wait for His timeline, because my timeline clearly is not lining up.
Well, it's not necessarily a timeline or anything like that, but
it's hard. I mean, that's why I'm trying to start my little side business next month, so I can start generating. I want at least 5 different sources of income, and I need at least 2 sources of income where I'm making money while I'm sleeping. I don't got to be there. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to punch in. I don't have to pay anybody. It makes it in my sleep.
When you find that out, call me up and let me know.
Because I might be down on that.
So
starting something next month, but that's gonna, I feel like, make me feel more comfortable, where I'm taking bigger steps to where, okay, if I do feel like I'm with a person where, okay, we want to start a family, granted, okay, my modeling career, it's not, quite where I need it to be, but I'm making the generation, or the income in my sleep. So, okay, I'm setting myself up in the right direction. I'm not waiting solely on, if I catch a big break.
Okay. What would you do if right now man walked up, love at first sight, the whole 9 yards, you can see the kids in his eyes, you ain't got to go to work, I'm handling the bills, I want you to stay home and raise the kids?
Where's my ring? Okay.
Oh, so you would do that. So you're not of the new age, for lack of a better term, boss bitch mentality.
I'm still going to take care of my kids, and I'm still going to work my job. I know how to multitask. I will run the household. I will take care of my kids, and I will still have my side hustle. I want to. That's why I will always have my own money, to where I will be able to still do what I want to do. I don't want to work the 9 to 5. I don't want to have to work. I want him to be able to fully take care of everything, so I can do what I want to do.
Yeah. Oh, okay. In a perfect world, yeah. But what I'm saying is like, you're not of that. Like, there's this whole new mentality, especially among women now, piss on having kids, don't worry about having them till you're 35, 40 years old, and you've chased the career, and by then you're so far along in years that there's complications with pregnancies, you don't have the energy to keep up with the kids and stuff like that.
I want both. I'll have both.
Okay. All right.
Believe it or not, I think a lot of young women are saying the same thing, and I think we need to teach our kids to do that.
Yeah.
I think more women that get into the industry that can take care of kids and run a multi-million-dollar business is the future. I think that is what our next generation is going to see. A lot of kids doing a bunch of different things, whether it's running 2 companies at once and having.
Yeah, but I don't know. I personally don't see how you can do that. I mean,
Social media.
well,
Social media.
okay, so yeah, but at some point, something has to detract you from something. I mean, we grew up around families, they had anything and everything they could possibly want, right?
Hmm.
The vacations, the newest video games, the best sneakers, and there was 6 kids. It wasn't like it was 2 kids. There were, yeah, 6 of them, right?
Ooh.
Where your mom used to work when we were living in Hilton.
Okay. Hmm.
All right, there was 6 of them, right?
Hmm.
Okay, 6 kids. Okay, every single one of the boys had their own electronic. What was it, Xbox or
Yeah, but now
PS?
they hate their life and
But that's what I'm getting at. Their parents focus so much on making the money and making the money and making the money and making the money and having, granted it wasn't their multi-million-dollar industry, but the wife was running a pretty healthy business out of the home.
hmm.
The husband was managing a multi-million-dollar
Hmm.
a year industry. They had what you're going after, but look at what happened to the dynamic in the home. You admitted it yourself growing up because I know it created issues with us. You didn't understand why you couldn't get an
That's how
Xbox.
they raise their children. I would never. It's a dynamic. It's who you are as a person. And first, I would never raise my kids that way. I will always. I'm gonna make sure I would still, if I couldn't run my multi-million-dollar business and still be involved in my kid's life, then I wouldn't be able to run that business. I would have to take a step back.
So you
You would
are
put the family first
Always.
over everything.
okay.
Always.
Okay.
You,
But I'll
but
still have my business.
yeah,
Someone else
yeah.
is just gonna be in charge and run it.
yeah, I was gonna say, but
Yeah.
that's like the thing because like I was talking to a friend of ours, general contractor, or does a couple $100,000 a year on
I
his
mean,
own. It's him and 2 guys. It's like you take that business, it's gonna be like giving birth. Like you've given everything, and
Mhm.
now you've got your business.
But the thing is, it's gonna be mine. I can bring my babies with me. I will have a whole nursery for them. They can come with me. Even
Each-
on set. If I need to go on set, they'll come
Yeah.
with me. I need hair and makeup at 3 a.m. They can sit in my lap while I'm getting hair and makeup done. I take photo shoots. I feed them in between. That's how it will work.
I think it goes
Okay.
deeper into that because each industry, each niche that you go into has different limitations. Say construction, you're busy. There's no other competition. You're getting phone calls left and right. You're not going to have that family life. But, fashion, social media really has a lot more uh, ability to kind of take that uh, pressure off of you. So, like I said, each industry has its own limitations to how you run your lifestyle, whether it's family life or individual life. And I think people that are getting into entrepreneurship need to first realize that they really need to take note of that. How is that going to affect my family life, my spiritual life, whatever? Um, but
I mean, you can even
I mean,
see
it's
that with certain very large YouTube channels now. They've still got that family life, but they're still able to run that YouTube business.
I know a couple people who they're full-time YouTubers. They stay home. They're content creators and they have a nanny.
mhm.
And people are like, "You stay home. You're at home all day. Why do you need a nanny for your kids?" And it's like, this is my job. Granted, I'm around my kids. I'm here. I'm in the home. I'm present. I'm making sure, I'm still instilling the beliefs and everything that I want. I'm around, but this is my work time.
Okay. Are you afraid of the social media creating that toxic uh, toxic atmosphere? Because I know there was a point in time when you were looking at some reality shows and things like that, and like I don't know if you guys remember American Chopper with the Tuttles.
Yeah,
They built the
yeah.
custom bikes out in Syracuse. Like, granted, dad, father, and son were never like super cool, but man, entertainment got involved and it just went right through the roof as far as animosity goes. I mean, have you seen that, experienced it, witnessed it? As soon as like you're going, you don't want the drama and stuff like that. You want to go on these reality shows, and the producer's like, "Yo, you need to go throw a drink in that girl's face and really jack up her lashes." I mean, are they creating this turmoil that ultimately you're going to be the one that has to answer for it? You're going to be the
No,
quote
because
unquote
ultimately
lamb to the slaughter.
I get a say. I mean, that's one of the perks of being an entrepreneur. It's mine.
Mhm.
I make a say. I make the rules.
But I think that's a lot different when it comes to like reality TV, is they are forcing
Absolutely.
a lot
You
of that.
have to
Yeah.
read your contract and you have
Yeah.
to fully know what you're signing up for.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, have you seen that type of?
Yes, I got a contract like that.
Oh,
was
where
in my contract.
you had to go throw water in somebody's face and
They
start shooting.
specifically said we are going to portray. We have to make this interesting. You may not like how we portray you. We have to make it interesting. We might make you. You know, you might look like the bad guy. They specifically said that. We
Oh,
are going
no.
to create drama.
Wow.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yes.
Oh no!
And you said no
Yeah.
to it, or
Yeah, no, we didn't
Okay.
do it.
Yeah.
And it was a couples thing, and you know we were just starting to take off, and then you know they were gonna try and pit us against each other and portray us as, you know, crazy and toxic, and it's like we're building this family-ish channel, you know, we have a lot of family viewers,
And then they want to throw that.
and this, you know, happy home
the
life
wayside.
and cute little couple. Now you want us to go on this toxic show with all these lies, and you have that's where it comes in, and you have to figure out what's best for your brand.
It's good on you that you made that decision that it was not the best thing for your brand,
Mm-hmm.
and that you wanted to keep it how you wanted it. And it's great that you're able to
That's
do that.
that's the hard part is I've gotten a couple different like offers for reality TV. I've gotten 3, and they all sound good. Money's cool. I would definitely, you know, get my face out there. I would definitely have way more followers. I would definitely be bigger. But it's like,
You'd have to sacrifice your image for that. And you don't
how
want
do you
to.
want to be seen? But then again, it's like, okay, well, you're getting older, so you know, are you just gonna go for it, and then are you gonna try and change the image along the way? Are you just gonna settle and, you know, try and change their mind? Are you just going to do it just to kind of get your foot in the door, or are you just going to still try and navigate and, you know, keep doing what you're doing? So that's really, I mean, that's the hard part.
So as like you said, you know, you're getting older and stuff like that. What is to date? What is the closest you've come to compromising your brand? Like, what was the offer on the table?
That last show for Netflix, it was like it was a reality show.
Elaborate, please. Tell the listeners what it was, what it entailed and stuff like
I
that.
don't know if she can get into that. Can you get into that?
It was the one I just explained. It was in the contract. They specifically said that
Yeah,
they.
but that was the closest you would ever come. Like, that was when you sat down, you looked at that contract, you're like, man, I'd really let him make me look like a bitch.
I mean, yeah, because like I said, I've been really debating, like, you know.
What were they
We-
what were they putting on the table?
What do you mean?
Like, what was in the contract? 100 grand?
You're looking at like 6 figures, 8 figures.
Yeah, like
No.
like
Wow.
No. It was 2 months of filming in Jamaica. I think it was only like 25 grand, but it was 2 months of filming, everything paid in Jamaica. My thing was it just exposure. I mean, you look at all these people on Love and Hip Hop and doing all these things, and now, I mean, they're building their own mansions and, you know, riding in new Rolls Royces, and, you know, it's the lifestyle. That's the lifestyle that I aspire to have. So now it's kind of like, okay, do you bite the bullet? And I mean, I know what kind of person I am. I mean, social media. Do you portray this character? Do I want to portray a character on social media, or do I want to be myself? What do you want to do? Do you want to get there? Do you want to just get there right now? Do you want to get your name out there and try and change their mind after? Or you just want to go, do the show, and, you know, how they portray you is whatever, and see how it goes.
So it comes down to, do you want to be the actor now to get famous, or do you want to work on
It's
it
really
and be
it's
yourself
about
to
your
be the
character.
actor?
How do you want people to see you?
Yeah.
How can you handle the mental capacity if they do hate you, if they paint you as this horrible, mean person? I mean, online people are mean.
oh yeah.
People are ruthless.
Oh yeah,
And
kids are killing themselves over this shit
I
nowadays.
can honestly say that I have really been blessed, as I've never really gotten bullied. I've never really received backlash or horrible, you know, threats or anything like that, anything crazy. But that's real. And it's like, okay, are you mentally strong enough to handle that? Do you want to handle that? Is it worth my mental health to go through that and to be painted as that in order to fast track and, okay, let me just try and get to where I'm going? I mean, it's what do you want to do?
So okay, you've got your brain. Okay, what is your messaging for your brain? Like, what is it about Monet that's going to make her stand out and be more than just that pretty face?
I mean, I just try to be positive. I get along with everybody. I'm personable. I love people. I want people to be them best selves. I want them to find God and find themselves and just be a good person. Literally find their purpose. Find out what they love to do and just be better.
Okay, but what's the message? Like, if you had a mission statement for Monet, One sentence mission statement. And if you can't think of it, that's fine. I get it. I'm putting you on the spot. I didn't ask you this ahead of time. One mission statement for Monet, what would it be?
Don't be stupid. Get your money.
Don't be stupid, get your money. Now
Okay.
that's a good mission statement.
Yeah. You have any? Is there anything you've regretted? Is there a deal that you've turned down or anything like that where you're sitting back and like, damn, I wish I would.
There's lots. I know I could be way further than where I am, but it's just one. It's about your moral compass. It's about how. It's about you have to be able to live with yourself. You look at yourself and love yourself. My biggest thing is like I ask for a lot of things. I know exactly what I want, and there's been a few times where it's right in front of me and it's like, okay, now you asked for this. Now I have to ask myself, are you ready? Do you want it? And I feel like I wasn't ready. Like, okay, actually I don't know if I want it. I don't know if I'm ready for I don't know if I'm ready for all that it entails. You genuinely, I mean, you have to be ready. I feel like sometimes I shouldn't have been so scary, and I kind of should have jumped a little bit and kind of went for it just to see. But then again, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, well, you said you got to be comfortable, dealing with what you do. So let's just say you I think it boils down to more than just what you feel comfortable with, and this is something I've expressed to Brian and Silas in numerous times, especially with social media. It's not just me that I have to worry about. It's not just you that you have to worry about. Somebody's going to know you and your family. And if they're not going to come after you, they'll go after your family. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things. It's just.
Yeah, but that's why I have a different name on social media and a whole different character. But that's where you have to differentiate. Okay, you don't want to completely lose yourself. So you have to be.
And even as they get older and they have kids, that branding that they started when they were, younger and then now they have kids, that kind of feeds into how that kid grows up, at least for a certain amount of years. How do you, how would you tell people, how do you brand yourself? How would you go about branding yourself?
How do I go about branding myself?
Yeah.
I definitely try to. It's hard. I definitely try to be positive. I feel like you have to find a certain niche. You have to find a kind of you can't please everybody. You can't. It doesn't matter what you do.
And you shouldn't.
How good you are, how amazing you are. You can't. And honestly, the haters are the ones who are going to push you further. Right. I feel like you have to find what works for you, what you want to do. You have to be consistent. You absolutely have to be consistent. And you just got to figure out, like where you want to go.
I feel as if branding is the key to entrepreneurship. You want to make a lot of money? Get your brand, be consistent with it, and
it has to do with the ads, how many followers you have to appeal to the person. You kind of have to figure out based on if you're selling a product, if you're, selling modeling, if you're selling clothes, if you're selling, a device, or if you're just talking, if you're doing a podcast, whatever you're selling, whatever you want people to tune into, you have to find a way that's interesting that you can reach a lot of people. Where it's not too difficult, where you can stay consistent.
Right. It's
so
funny how
consistency is the key in all of that.
You have to, and that's the hardest thing to do. That is the hardest thing to do, is to stay consistent. You're tired one day. Oh, I just don't want to. Well, then you just lost the algorithm, and now you got to start all over. And who knows if they'll put you back on the same number in the algorithm that you were in, because you were doing numbers. But you got tired. I'm doing good. I want to take a day off, and now you're getting 10 views. So.
How much do you feel the algorithm plays into branding?
Huge, and it's always changing. That's one thing that you have to actually specifically look in. If you're on Instagram or YouTube, you have to look up the algorithm. Did they change it? What is it? You have to look at the settings. You have to look at, what do I need to do? What times do I need to post?
Right.
What country are the people in? What age? Is it men? Is it female? Is it children? What
kidding
demographic?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, it's ridiculous
Everything.
how much you.
I tried to explain this to you a couple months ago, and it's.
Dude, that's insane.
There's an entire breakdown, especially on Instagram. That's why you post at certain times, you post certain days.
Yep.
my demographic is more men than women. It's usually between like 20 and 45. It's mainly in New York and LA. There's an entire demographic. And that depends on the time zones, because mine is New York and LA, but New York and LA are in different time zones. So that differentiates, when I have to post certain stuff.
Yeah, the algorithm really plays a big part in your brand,
In your growth.
In your growth, it really dictates everything. So my next question would be, and this is just kind of for myself, who do you think runs the algorithm? Who do you think really is behind the algorithm? Is it just a computer?
Elon
No,
Musk.
it's creepy little Zuckerberg.
Do you think there was a group of engineers, that really sat down and was like, this is what we need to do?
Yeah, I think they're constantly evolving and changing it. And I think it's people who aren't really social media people who change it. Because that's why a lot of times when I was doing the YouTube, we had 100,000 followers. And some of our videos sometimes get 1,000 views. It doesn't make sense. There's no way.
Right.
Especially we're posting at peak times. We're consistent. We're, So
was there anything in the messaging that would have led you, like, were you out there waving a rebel flag or promoting communism, or were you taking a
it was just
stance?
based on the algorithm. We signed up for a business. When Reels started on Instagram, we signed up for like a business content page, and it was like a creator fund. So since they agreed to pay us, they shortened our views. But if we would have read the fine print, we would have seen that. They shortened the amount of reach that our videos and posts got because they didn't want to pay.
That's more money that they would have to pay you instead of.
So you have to get a certain amount of followers to even be eligible. So cool, we reached the followers, but now we agree to it, and then you bump us back down because you don't want to pay.
Yeah.
Restrictor plate racing, NASCAR style, sons of.
I've heard about that with all sorts of YouTubers, like. One little thing, that they don't like in your video, and it's
discouraging. It is. It's really discouraging.
And then they change those lines
all the time,
every day, just in order so that they don't have to pay you.
That's why a lot of it, like you have to enjoy it. You have to like what you do. Granted, it's hard work, and you're not gonna love it every single day. I don't love waking up at 4 a.m. to sit in hair and makeup for 3 hours, but you have to genuinely have some love for what you do, because it's a lot, and you're not always going to see a return.
So if you're just in this just to get your message out, just to get it out there, because, personally, I'm starting this not because I want to make money. I'm starting this because I want to affect change. I believe that
But that's the perfect way to do it.
Well, but so now to turn around, because like right now we're going to push on YouTube. And things like that. For the other platforms, is it just one of these where it would be better to just go across all of them and throw shit at the wall and see which one hits best?
All platforms. The more people are on different platforms. Like I don't watch podcasts like that. So you could reach me on Instagram and YouTube, whereas you could reach someone who only watch podcasts if you post this on a podcasting site. You reach different people on different sites.
Yeah, but
you never know who you could reach, who could share it, how many followers they have.
Yeah, but what's...
And different algorithms are on different sites.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a crazy game you have to play just to get heard.
I guess so.
Or seen, or...
I don't know. I just...
Discovered.
I don't understand. I don't understand it. And
it's not supposed to be understood because it's a marketplace ran by people that, want to
making
make money
money.
They don't fully understand it because they're not even... The people, this is just my perspective. The people who really do run the algorithm are looking at the money aspect. They're looking at the numbers. It's their job to stay within a budget and to do their job. They're, little computer. That's what they do. The people who are actually making the content and trying to make a living off of this, they see a different side of it because they have to do different things. The other people, they don't care if you get paid from it or not.
So they're basically... crap, I forgot how I was going to word that. Never mind, I'm sorry, I apologize. But it's
They're bean counters, basically saying, I don't want to pay you, so I'm going to do what I can so that you get paid a little bit, but I make more money.
Yeah.
It's the whole, it's still that corporate.
So is there any way around that? Is there any platform that's better to focus on than the other?
No, you just got to throw
YouTube's going to shaft you the same way Rumble is.
Yeah.
Dan Bongino is going to put the shaft into us.
Well, I would hope Dan Bongino doesn't put the shaft into us.
The Bonge. Um, all right, okay, I guess. I just, like I said, this is all new, and I don't have a plan. I got purpose and a platform. That's all I can promise you, man.
I do got one more question though. As time goes on in your modeling career, say you do get that contract or whatever, the
Mhm.
yearly contract. After modeling's done, is there like a way into management? I suppose you would call it. Like, could you start your own modeling agency?
Ultimately, I definitely want to start like some sort of, I don't know if I want an agency, but I definitely want to be some sort of figure, positive figure for like young girls wanting to get into the industry because I feel like you don't have that. And I feel like the people that do claim, the women that do claim to stand for the children, for the young girls and to really advocate for them, once they get money hungry. Money
Right.
changes people. I don't care what you say.
Yeah,
It does. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but
Mhm.
you have to evolve. It changes
I
people.
feel like the biggest change people can make is to get up that ladder as fast
Mhm.
as you could, take control of a modeling agency, or switch
And run it
up,
the same way.
run it, yeah, the
Yeah.
same way.
And I've definitely seen that a lot. I've seen really good people who, same thing. I want to
Mhm.
make a change. I want to be there. I want to be a voice. And it's like they do at 1st and they
Mhm.
start to do really good. They grow, but then they go, they get busy or they
Right.
have enough money, so they put someone else in charge and then it doesn't run the same way. And,
Mhm.
you start doing the same mistakes that you tried to escape from to begin with.
Mhm.
So I definitely would want to do that. But ultimately, I want to have my own business.
Mhm.
Modeling is a start. That's going to get me in the door. That's going to get me traveling. That's going to get me the financial freedom. But I
Mhm.
want to have a multi-million-dollar company of my own.
You and I both.
So with that being the ultimate goal, how do you, and wanting a family and wanting to be married 2 years ago, your timeline, not mine. Um, how do you how do you see yourself balancing that? I mean, so, so it's like you said, something's got to give. You can only spread yourself so thin. I
I don't have the
mean,
answer. Just talk to God. Wait for His timeline, because my timeline clearly is
well,
not lining up.
it's not necessarily a timeline or anything like that, but um,
It's hard. I mean, that's why I'm trying to start my little side business next month so I can start generating. I want at least 5 different sources of income.
Mhm.
And I need at least 2 sources of income where I'm making money while I'm sleeping. I don't got to be there. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to punch in. I don't have to pay anybody. It makes it in my sleep.
When you find that out, call me up and let me know. 'Cause I'm
Yeah,
looking for
because
it.
I might be down on that.
so
Starting something next month, but that's gonna, I feel like, make me feel more comfortable where I'm taking bigger steps to where, okay, if I do feel like I'm with a person where, okay, we want to start a family, granted, okay, my modeling career, it's not, you know, quite where I need it to be, but I'm making the generation or the income in my sleep. So, okay, I'm setting myself up in the right direction. I'm not waiting solely on, oh, if I catch a big break.
Mhm.
okay, what would you do if right now man walked up, love at first sight, the whole 9 yards, you can see the kids in his eyes, you ain't got to go to work, I'm handling the bills, I want you to stay home and raise the kids.
Where's my ring? Okay.
Oh, so you would do that. So you're not of the new age, for lack of a better term,
No, because
boss bitch
I'm still
mentality.
gonna take care of my kids and I'm still gonna work my job. I know how to multitask. I will run the household. I will take care of my kids, and I will still have my side hustle. I want to. That's why I will always have my own money to where I will be able to still do what I want to do. I don't want to work the 9 to 5. I don't want to have to work. I want him to be able to fully take care of everything, so I can do what I want to do.
Oh, okay. In a perfect world, yeah. But what I'm saying is like you're not of that. Like there's this whole new mentality, especially among women now. Piss on having kids. Don't worry about having them till you're 35, 40 years old, and you've chased the career. And by then you're so far along in years that there's complications with pregnancies. You don't have the energy to keep up with the kids and
No, I
stuff like
want I
that.
want both. I'll have both.
Okay, all right.
Believe it or not, I think a lot of young women are saying the same thing, and I think we need to teach our kids to do that.
Yeah.
I think more women that get into the industry that can take care of kids and run a multi-million-dollar business is the future. I think that is what our next generation is going to see. A lot of kids doing a bunch of different things, whether it's running 2 companies at once and
Mhm.
having.
Yeah, but I don't know.
family.
I personally, I don't see how you can do that. I mean,
Social media.
well,
Social media.
okay, so, yeah, but at some point, something has to detract you from something. I mean, we grew up around families, they had anything and everything they could possibly want, right?
Mhm.
At vacations, the newest video games, the best sneakers, and there was 6 kids. It wasn't like it was 2 kids. There were, yeah, 6 of them, right? Where your mom used to work when we were living in Hilton.
Okay. Mhm.
All right, there was 6 of them, right?
Mhm.
Okay, 6 kids. Okay, every single one of the boys had their own